So welcome to our Zoom. What is our body saying to us? I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich, and I'm not sure, I'm seeing lots of familiar faces, and I think a few people that I don't know yet. So welcome. Is everybody familiar with access consciousness? I think you do, but anyway, for people maybe who will be watching who are not, I'll say a few words explaining what access is, what I am, and I did not make a mistake about what I am because I'm an infinite being. But in this reality, I am Helen Gitlevich in this body, and we'll be talking about this reality. Not something, well, maybe a little bit of magic as well, which is outside this reality. So we'll be using a few tools of access consciousness. So me, Helen Gitlevich, I'm a medical doctor by education who had lots of things that I've created throughout my life, which kind of allowed me to be here today. And by saying created things, open heart surgery at 37, which kind of stopped me from being a doctor and allowed me to look for other avenues to help myself. And when I did find something that worked, like access consciousness, I chose to start facilitating it. So at this moment, I'm certified facilitator with access consciousness, as well as 3-day body facilitator, 3-day body class facilitator, also founder of Akashic School of Creation and a Teacher of Akashic Records. So this Zoom is about tools of access consciousness. What is access consciousness? It is very pragmatic system of tools, and we'll be using those tools to clear stuff that's not allowing us to communicate with our body clearly. I'll say a few tools so we can start. One of them will be clearing statement, and Judy already put in the chat the website where you can find more about theclearingstatement.com. And pretty much it sounds almost like abracadabra. Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds. Very musical. And like a magic wand. It takes all of those limitations that we have, all of those blocks and stuff that we put in our body, in our lives, and just magically clears. So will be a major tool in access is asking questions or being the question. So we'll be asking a lot of questions and using the clearing statement to clear the lies. By the way, everything that's heavy and contracting is a lie. And everything that's true will make you feel lighter. So with that tool, when we bring up the energy of heaviness, I'll be asking you, would you like to uncreate and destroy all of that? And if you're choosing it, clearing statement will destroy it. I'll say that magic phrase, right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. So, are you ready to begin our journey? I assume you said yes. And this is kind of your Zoom whoever live today on this Zoom online, and you can ask any questions that you have about bodies, about what body is saying to us, or anything. So that's where I start with if anybody has questions.
And if you can't, I'm not really sure. I've never done this. Like I've done my own Zooms, but I've never, if I'm in control of muting, can they unmute
They can,
themselves?
like, everybody can unmute themselves.
And everybody knows how to do that. If you can't,
Yeah.
don't shake your head.
And or you can write it in that little chat we have, and Judy will ask for you, because some people don't like to be seen on video. So if you don't, you can always write the question. And
your comments in the chat. Please do that.
yes, play with that.
I was just going to say, whoever is on the Zoom, on whether it's on a computer or on a cell phone, on the bottom left-hand side, they can see their video controls and their audio controls, literally at the very, like I'm on a phone right now. So like at the very bottom of the screen, if I tap on it, I can, there's a little microphone, you can mute and unmute, and there's a video, show video or not. So it's a lot of ease from that.
And we'd love to see your faces.
Exactly, because you all have beautiful faces.
Mm-hmm.
So let's acknowledge you.
I know, isn't that so cool? We're so amazing.
Exactly. So with bodies, a lot of times our body starts talking to us and we ignore it. How many of you literally, and I know Dane plays with that word a lot, literally, I'm talking about literally totally ignore it. I did for years, even right now. So what happens is our body tells us a lot of information. It's a sensory organism. It has its own consciousness. Let's say the body doesn't like certain food. It creates allergies. It creates stomachache. We start getting nauseous from certain foods. If we ignore it, let's say we look at the food and kind of like, I don't want to eat it, but then we ignore it and eat it anyway, and then we get nauseous. And then we ignore it and eat it again. A lot of times it will come up in not such a pleasant way, or it will go through the other end with a diarrhea. And body usually starts with very low intensity. But because we ignore it, the intensity goes up, and a lot of times we sense it as pain. Number one, majority of cases, that is not even ours. And one of the major tools with token access, who does it belong to us? As I said, body is a sensory mechanism, sensory organism, and has consciousness. So it senses somebody has pain, let's say our neighbor, our husband or wife, or whoever is next to us, or maybe 1,000 miles away. But it needs some healing. So our body tells us, oh, this body has pain. This body has pain, let's say, in the right hip. And we're like, oi, my hip hurts. Instead of asking who does that belong to, we assume it's ours. Or maybe the intensity is not strong enough for us to do something about it, so we ignore it and go about our day. Maybe take Tylenol. So what happens next? Body's like, no, knock, knock, knock. This body needs healing. The pain goes up. And we're like, oh, there might be something wrong. So we go to the doctor. The doctor looks, at first might not find something, but gave you another pill. You go home, the pain goes up, or I would say intensity goes up. And we start thinking, what could be wrong with the body?
So Helen, Marcy has a question. So what is the reason for picking up on others and showing with such intensity in our bodies? It's
pretty much our bodies just being what it intended to. It's not kind of like, think of this body as energetic body, not just physical. Like this part is small. We have energetic bodies, and we have a lot of other, like aura, that pretty much involves other people as well. So they're in our field, and our bodies, through centuries, through millions of years, either by contracts or just by being what it is, it's just healing instrument. It can heal us, it can heal others. But because we denied it and ignore it, instead of being that, we put it in our body, sometimes taking it out of other bodies, but harming ourselves. The intention is to send energies out that will heal others according to what they need without harming us. The more we listen to our body.
So could we do a clearing on all of that, maybe?
Not yet. Not yet. Because the idea is to recognize first that it is what it is. Our bodies are healing instrument. So what I want to do, because we like to clear everything. What if not everything we need to clear, but acknowledge? Because a lot of times we cannot clear our healing abilities. That's a given. We cannot clear that we sense other people. We cannot clear our awareness. We can clear unawareness. And by the way, Judy, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So, healing ability of the body.
Mm-hmm.
Does it feel light or heavy?
So, truth, does my body have healing abilities? Yeah, light, super light.
Light, super light. So we cannot clear anything that's light.
Yeah, because it's the truth.
It's a truth. The only thing we can clear is the lies that, first of all, we cannot do it, or that it's harming us. So what energy, space, and consciousness can we be? To acknowledge our healing ability with total ease. Anything that doesn't allow that, we destroy and uncreate that. Right and wrong, good and bad, PAC and PAT, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. So,
Will you tie in that all in with the earth too?
Of course, because not only we aware of other bodies, but we're also aware of earth. How many of you actually sense earth and sensing earth when it requires energy from you?
Shitty at that.
Yeah. So everywhere where you are unwilling either to give or receive from earth, will you destroy and uncreate that? Right and wrong, good and bad, PAC and PAT, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. A lot of times we are so willing to gift to earth and receive all the pain from earth, but not willing to receive the contribution earth is to us. I'll start with earth communicating with us, because for me, that was the first experience in Access where I realized not everything is mine. I had horrible migraines since I was 11 years old. Pretty much before 11 or before 10, I would say. As a kid, I used to communicate with earth spirits, with everything in the universe. I kind of hid that ability from adults. And sometimes when I would whisper with something and my mom says, who are you talking to? I'm like, oh, nobody. But at a certain point, I kind of, when my grandfather died, I'm like, no, you lied to me, you couldn't save him, I'm not talking to you. So I totally cut my communication, communion with earth, with spirits, with everyone. And so I got migraines because what happened? I cut my awareness, which was a lot. So they were knocking on my door. The body is telling me somebody wants to talk to you, like earth. And I'm like, nope, ignoring it, not talking to you, not talking to you, not talking to you. Intensity went up, up to the point where I couldn't even function. Migraines were so bad, my mom would take me to every doctor possible. With Access, I found out that it was Earth communicating with me. And what I started doing is I was giving the Earth the contribution of that vibration in my body that was creating that pain. And that's very easy. It was like 1, 2, 3. I would throw that energy at Earth, giving and gifting that energy. So does anybody has a discomfort in their body right now? Ask, is it Earth? And it doesn't matter if it's Earth or somebody, because 99% of the time it will not be yours. Probably 100%, but I don't want to go that far. So if it's Earth or somebody else, let's gift it to them on 3. Just take that pain or discomfort in your hands and kind of like that vibration on 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. How is it now? How does it feel in your body? Any change in intensity?
Yeah.
Light and tingly.
Cool. Thank you. And that's the first step to recognizing that Earth is communicating with us. And tomorrow is going to be Earth Day. What I would like to do, actually, it's interesting. I'm just called to do restoration of communion with Earth right now. And it's a body process, but it's a body process that can be done on ourselves. So if you're outside, like I'm seeing Kathy is outside, and I think a lot of people that are outside, plant your feet firmly on the ground. And if you're at home just sitting, again, plant your feet on the ground. Not crossing your legs, just your soles of your feet just down on the floor or on the ground. And just ask, restoration of communion with Earth, run. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 9, shorts, boys and beyonds. Restoration of communion with Earth, run. Right and wrong, good, bad, POC, POD, all 9, shorts, boys and beyonds. And restoration of communion with Earth, run. Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, POD, all 9, shorts, boys and beyonds. And let's allow that energy process to continue. How does it feel in your body right now? For me, it's like my feet suddenly got hot. Any comments on people?
Tingly.
Tingly, yes.
And my butt is firmly planted on the floor, not my feet, but it's going through my entire body. See, I'm really bad at following directions, but I turned on the energy, and it's just, I love the yumminess of this process.
And with that, I'd like to do some clearings about receiving from Earth. because we're okay, like giving the 1, 2, 3, we give the energy to earth. Yeah, we are kind of soothing, exactly. It's yummy energy. So with that energy, see what you can receive from earth, not just gift, because we're such good givers. How many of you givers and don't like receiving? So whose lies, what lies, and how many lies are you using to avoid receiving you could be choosing? Everything that is, we destroy and uncreate that. Right and wrong, good and bad, pack and pat, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. Whose lies, what lies, and how many lies are you using against you so you do not receive from earth or anybody else, including money, love, gratitude, and anything that your body desires or your being desires? Everything that is, we destroy and uncreate that. Right and wrong, good and bad, pack and pat, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. Huh. I'm getting this question. Somebody has a question? And you can unmute yourself and ask it or write a
Helen,
maybe. Uh-huh.
I had a question earlier regarding body and head, and it was, I forget exactly how it went, but it was, what is the purpose of my head chatter being louder than my body awareness?
So what is that, Jackie? What is the value in that?
Well, as you were going further along into the earth and the receiving from the earth, that started to feel a little lighter. So I feel like there's a receiving piece to it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the chatter in the mind, again, is it yours?
No, there's way too many people in there for it to all just be mine.
Yeah, and that's the same thing like with the body. A lot of awarenesses come into our mind and the body.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is, again, that's that intensity dial, just like on the radio. If we ignore that thoughts, if we ignore that feelings or emotions that other people projected us, pretty much it overwhelms us and creates that chatter. So we don't even hear anything else. We don't even hear our own awarenesses.
Right.
So instead of ignoring it and just keeping that chatter going, what if we ask, who does it belong to? And return it back to sender. Or what is that? What do I do with it? Can I change it? And if yes, how can I change it? So look at your mind right now. I know we were talking about body, but mind a lot of times does shut down our bodies, awarenesses and bodies communion, because we have so much chatter in there. So what if we actually did an exercise for the next 3 days of who does it belong to? And by the way, there is an app. It's free. It's called Access Consciousness. Who does that belong to? And put it on, as Dr. Dane recommends, 10 minutes. And see if it shifts things. The idea is listening to everything that's going on in our bodies, including thoughts, feelings, and emotions, but not other people. The idea is to separate somebody else's versus us. Because if we have so much of information coming from outside, how much can we actually hear our body?
Very little.
Yeah. So, and stupidity is not calling you stupid. Stupidity is unawareness. So what stupidity are you using? And yes, the chatter is a distractor in plants. So what stupidity are you using to avoid the communion with your body through allowing other people's thoughts, feelings, and emotions influence you and your body you're choosing? Everything that is, we destroy and uncreate that.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, back, battle, 9 short minutes. What if you stop being a fact of other people's thoughts, feelings, and emotions? And their, yeah, and whatever their body is feeling.
Yes.
The more we acknowledge our healing abilities, the more we acknowledge that we are aware of everything and everyone in the universe, the more we have a choice. When we don't acknowledge it, when we try to block it, when we say, oh, no, 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 I'm not a healer, I cannot be a healer. No, 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 no. You're still a healer, or at least your body is. But at the same time, it creates that wall between you and your body. And through that wall, you cannot even hear any awareness you get about you or even about other people. Because you say, I cannot heal anybody, I cannot even heal myself. So what's the purpose? Blah, and there are walls.
And it's creating that space long enough to even ask that question or to use that awareness without going into the wrongness of like, oh shit, here I am again. This is, my head's foggy, my body, you know, like, and going into a story.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So how many stories are you telling yourself and living in that keeps you from total ease with you and your body?
Tons.
Yeah, everything that is, we destroy and uncreate that.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, back, battle, 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. Let's look at our barriers that we put on ourselves, with our bodies, and everybody else. The way I look at it, that's like, okay, where is my barriers? And just see how far do they go. And ask them, barriers down, barriers down, barriers down. Now look at how many thoughts, feelings, and emotions is in your mind. Because what happens when we put the barriers, whatever is caught in those barriers or got through cannot get out now. So when we drop the barriers, everything goes in and out without affecting us. So what if it was as simple as dropping the barrier and just listening to what our body is saying?
So does that mean that other people's thoughts, feelings, emotions, their bodies, thought, you know, their body, it kind of just flows in and out, and it doesn't like...
It shouldn't affect us. The only time it's like an awareness comes in, it's like, okay, this body needs some energy. And a lot of times body will do it intuitively without even notifying us. If we are in allowance of that, if we're not resisting it, the body will just like, oh, okay, cool. We need this vibration. Here it is. Oh, we need this vibration. Here it is. Oh, cool. This thought is not mine. Plump, and it's gone. When we are in resistance, it comes in and stays in until we hear it.
So it's acknowledging our capacities with our bodies.
Yep.
Oh, I'll just speak for me. It's acknowledging my capacities with my body and then keeping my barriers down and just allowing my body to do what it does.
Yep.
And then I don't feel the repercussions. I don't lock everything into my body. Is that right?
What do you know?
Well, I know I've been attempting to break this barrier for a long time, and it's, there's more to it than that. And there's something more that I'm missing, or I'm misinterpreting or something.
Right. So what does it mean for you to acknowledge your ability with your body?
I just acknowledge it can do so many things, like create so much and change so much.
Mm-hmm. So what can it change? Can you speak to that? And what can it create?
I have no idea.
Cool. Right, wrong, left, back, patal, 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. What's that? What just came up? Because there is an energy there. So what is that?
Well, part of it is I don't want to define it because I think that limits it.
Right, but I'm not asking you to define it.
Okay.
Just looking at that. What is that?
It's almost like I'm looking from outside my body, trying to figure out my body, sort of.
Yeah. So how much are you actually trying to figure out what your capacities are instead of just being it?
Well, I'm a bit of a, I'm a bit up in my head, so that
yeah, because figuring it out is, as you said, staying outside your body and trying to figure it out is how our mind tries to define it.
Okay, so everywhere I'm using my mind to define.
Will you destroy and uncreate that? Right, wrong, good,
Yeah.
bad, total, 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. Because whenever we try to define it through our mind, it's not acknowledging it. You can't acknowledge your capacity through the mind.
Because the mind has no reference, really, for what my body can do.
Exactly. Yeah. And then it does go into reference points of what it should look like. And that's what locks things in the body.
Okay, cool.
So let's do actually a couple of 5s on trying to figure out what our capacities are with that. And what acknowledgement is of those capacities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 5s are, it's algorithm interrupt, basically. We are interrupting the energy of computation. Our mind is like a computer, trying to calculate and compute everything in our lives and in the body. And that's another barrier to being. It defines it, that being or capacities, as doing a lot of times. What we have to do to create this, it's not about it. It's energetic awareness of being present with our bodies, what our body is telling us, and just allowing it to be without resistance. And that's actually not just without resistance, but also without aligning and agreeing with that. It's getting out of polarity and being interesting point of view about anything and everything and everybody, including our body. Okay, I lost you for a second. So what's going on with you guys?
Hey, Helen, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I think I've got a couple things that came up for me just now, which may not seem related, but I'm going to ask anyways. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I have a lot of warts on my body, like little, like they're and starting to pop more and more. Mm-hmm. And I've been asking, what is it? What is it? What is it? And I was wondering if you could maybe ask me a few questions on that.
Absolutely. So you said words, right?
Yeah, they're like little dots, and they're like all over my skin. Like I'm noticing more and more, like everywhere.
Okay. So choose, what is that?
I know I'm not treating my body the way I should be treating it, in terms of I'm not listening to what my body would like to actually even consume.
Yeah. So everything that doesn't allow you to listen to your body, will you destroy and uncreate that?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, back, battle, nine shorts, boys and hands. What can you do with that?
Change it.
So can you change it?
I can change it. The question
Yeah.
is if I really want to change it.
Yeah. Do you actually desire to change it?
No.
Yeah. Cool. So that's pretty much it. So what if it's not a wrongness?
Yeah.
Thank you. Right and wrong, good and bad, back and pat, all nine shorts, boys and girls. Everywhere you're judging your body and judging you for the choices you and your body are choosing, will you destroy and uncreate that?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, back, pat, all nine shorts, boys and girls. What if you could be in total allowance of whatever you're choosing?
Yeah, working on that one.
Thank you. Right, wrong, good, bad, back, pat, all nine shorts, boys and girls. The idea is, in 99.99% of situations, if we have a point of view about it, if we are not an allowance of that, it's very difficult to change it. So are you willing just to be an allowance, an interesting point of view about your body choices and your choices?
Yes.
Thank you. Right, wrong, good, bad, back, battle, nine shorts, poisonous. And what do you require to actually listen to your body if you choose it?
I require a dietary change, that's for sure. Well, not for sure, but I require a dietary change and perhaps a lifestyle change.
Yeah. Do you know kinesiology, the muscle testing?
Sorry, what was the question?
Do you know how to use kinesiology or
Yes.
muscle testing?
Yes.
Yeah. So start there.
I find that truth, yes or no, actually works for me better than that.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I've got another question for you. I'm not sure how to ask this. So basically, there's this whole thing with acidity and alkaline and acids in our bodies, and so our body designed a certain way, correct, to function a certain way, and our organs designed a certain way. So like when we have a lot of acidity in our bodies, we create more stuff with it.
Is it a question?
I'm kind of trying to get to the question.
No, Vicky. I'm actually asking you, is that a question or a conclusion?
It's some knowledge that I have from stuff that I've studied and actually experimented on myself.
Right. So that's why I'm asking. Is it a question or lots of conclusions? And are those conclusions yours if they are conclusions?
No, they're not.
So whenever you were talking, did it feel light to you or heavy?
For me, it felt heavy.
Yeah, so is it true if it's heavy?
No. So this is the interesting part, is that I was...
So are you willing to actually destroy and uncreate everything that you bought as a conclusion?
Yes, yes and then no, because I'm like, but I have proof of that.
Right, wrong, good, talk about all nine shorts wisdoms. Yeah. And what if a proof is another conclusion? What if nothing is right, nothing is wrong? And what if it's just a choice?
Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to ask you this question.
Sure.
For my body, I've noticed I was doing a lot of years 3 years ago, whatever it was, before I found Access. I was doing a lot of detoxification. So I was doing a lot of fruit and vegan and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that my body was doing great. My body just loves fruits. It functions great on fruit. The less stuff I have in my body, the better my body feels.
Mm-hmm.
Energetically, like if I do energy work, I mean, I don't have to eat. I mean, most people probably like that.
And does that feel light? And does that feel light?
What?
Whatever you just said. Huh?
My conclusion about, which conclusion are you now referring to?
What if this one is not a conclusion? What if it's an awareness? That's what I'm asking is, does it feel light or heavy?
Light. Okay, thank you for pointing something out to me right now. Everywhere, I just caught myself not trusting my knowing.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I was playing with.
Okay.
So everywhere where you're buying other people's conclusions and avoiding your own awareness and judging you for having the awareness that does not match other people's conclusions, will you destroy and uncreate that?
Yes. Okay, so I got everything.
Talk about all nine shorts, please.
Thank you. Yes. I just got what I was doing.
Yep.
I got what I was doing. And what I was doing is, just to let everyone else know, well, I'm sure they were already caught on to it, but I was giving someone else power over my knowing. And from like power over, I'm the source of my creation. I'm the source of everything. And someone else's sort of points of view or whatever it is, away. It's like I already know everything, right?
Yeah. So anything that doesn't allow you to know, be, receive, and perceive that you actually know more than you think you do, will you destroy and uncreate that?
Yeah.
Right, John, good talk about all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead. Please go ahead.
The idea is to listen to our bodies, to listen to ourselves, not to other people, not to authorities, not to all the nutritional books, because everybody is different.
So there's no such thing as really the body is designed a certain way and it requires certain things on the physical, like because it's a physical body, it has fluids like blood and lymph and all that. And it's because not every single body is designed the same way.
Yeah.
So then you can look, so then you can look at the people that are like, you hear stories of a 100-year-old man that was smoking, drinking all his life and never ate anything but cigarettes and booze.
Yep.
And he he just basically just one day went to sleep and died.
Exactly. Our point of view creates our reality. Our points of view and judgments create our bodies. So every judgment we put into our body, on our bodies, create what we have.
Oh, I keep forgetting that little part.
Everything in our body that we have right now, we created it through our judgments. Or points of view, which is another judgment.
So you see, the whole for the past couple of weeks, this whole cancer has been just eating in my head constantly. Cancer, 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 and I'm like, oh my God, am I creating cancer in my body? What am I doing? And I was just getting all this stuff, and it started getting bigger and bigger.
Is it yours?
Truth isn't mine. Yes or no? No.
Would you return it back to whoever gave it to you?
To
and destroy and uncreate everything you're creating with that.
Yes.
Right. I'm good and bad, back and pat, all nine shorts, boys and men. And truth, who's got cancer? Is it somebody that requires some energy from you?
Thank you for that question.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, my body just wants to cry right now.
Yeah. So let's do it on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Whoever needs that vibration, 1, 2, 3. And whatever they choose with that, because the energy that we provide, not necessarily for healing their cancer and curing them, it might be for them to die faster and easier.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So when that kind of stuff comes up with cancer or anything else, so I can actually just ask the question, does anyone require an energetic contribution?
Exactly.
And it's not about me knowing who it is. It's just if anyone on the planet requires it, I can just gift it to them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wonderful questions. Anybody else has any questions right now?
I'd love to ask for a little more about.
Oh, Rachel, you froze just now.
Expectations and allowance.
Rachel, can you repeat your question?
Point of view. Can you hear me? I don't know.
It's kind of like breaking up.
Okay, I'll write it then.
No. I can hear you now. There was like some interference.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not in the best Wi-Fi room right now. I'm wondering about change and our ability to contribute to change, and when people have expectations versus being interesting point of view, what is available, and if one person is interesting point of view and everybody else is directing all sorts of expectations. I'm right now, I have my hands on my dad's leg and I'm running facelift because that's what his body was asking for. The energy of the face on his leg where he fell and has, I don't know, my husband looked it up, a hematoma, whatever, I don't know. Huge bruise thing. Anyway, there's a lot of projections and a lot of expectations and a lot of points of view that I'm perceiving from everywhere. And I'm getting that it's not allowing so much change. Yeah. And the interesting thing is the more I perceive it, the more like, I loved what you were saying with the barriers down, the more, cause it's like, it's more solid and more heavy and more, like I'm picking up on all this stuff and it's like, this isn't it. But my sense of interesting point of view wasn't enough to
right.
outdo the expectations. And so I'm wondering about allowance and functioning, I guess, in this reality with allowance versus expectations.
So how much are you are not interesting point of view about their expectations? So we are a lot of times
there's an expectation of that I should make it all go away, and you know, how come it hasn't gone away since, you know, it fell Monday night? Why is it like this still? And you know, am I actually doing anything? And is any of this a waste of time? I can pick up on all of this stuff, and it's really,
are you willing to first of all, are you willing to return it back to them?
Yes.
Truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Right, wrong, good, bad, pak, pat, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. And how much did you return it back? 50%? Or less? 45. 45. So what's the value of holding on to somebody else's expectations?
And points of view and judgments.
And judgment, all of that. Yeah, all of that. So what's the value in holding on to them?
It's like if I take it in somehow, then I can handle it. I don't know if that makes like 0 sense whatsoever, but whatever that is, I'm willing to let it.
Because a lot of times it's actually true. Because energetically, if we take on their points of view, maybe that can bring the truth. So are you willing to destroy and uncreate all of it?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pak, pat, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. With that, what's that? What's that just came up?
The energy of like, kind of like a Nurse Nancy, like one is down, the other one's going to go down, then somebody else is going to, there's this huge
Are you
invention.
still, so true, is the contract of universal surrogate still active in your life?
Yes. Yeah. I've pucked and potted that one a lot.
Yeah, the universal surrogate is a program that some people or a lot of people swear that they will take all the pain and suffering out of the whole universe. So and everybody in the universe. So the universe would be a wonderful healed place. And then we'll have oneness.
Physical and mental.
Physical, mental, emotional, and psychological, all of it.
Yeah.
So it's about being Nurse Nancy. It's about being Jesus Christ of the universe, kind of like taking on everybody's pain and suffering. How many of you have friends and family?
To slaughter.
Yeah, friends and family members that come and dump everything on you, all their problems, and you're supposed to fix it. So how many of you are universal surrogates? Yeah. So are you willing to let go of that program finally? So all your contracts, oaths, vows, fealties, communities, promises, judgments, conclusions, computation, projection, rejection, separation, all the AIs, artificial intelligences that keep it in place from any lifetime, timeline, space, dimension, realities, universes, will you revoke, recant, rescind, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate that utterly and completely? Thank you, right, wrong, good, bad, pak, pat, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Yeah. So what if we don't have to be a universal surrogate? Or, because the idea is, if we acknowledge our healing ability, does not mean we have to take on pain and suffering of others. It's the opposite true, that if we acknowledge it, then we have a choice. Then we can send them energy. Then we can help them to heal themselves if they choose. Or not. When we have those contracts, we're stuck. We're pretty much the prisoner that don't have a choice except work on those minds and keep chipping away at other people's problems. So
they love their problems so much. And they love their problems so much. It's an endless job to deal with them.
Yep, exactly. And the idea is, when we try to solve somebody's problems, are we actually giving, helping them to be empowered, or we are being superior and trying to fix whatever they need to fix? So are you willing to give up being superior while acknowledging that you are actually superior? Everything that is, we destroy and uncreate that. Right, wrong, good, bad, pak, pat, all nine shorts, boys, means. How are we helping them create them? Yeah, the idea is when we solve their problem, because they created the problem for something, that they needed to learn something, or they decided they have to have that problem. When we take away the problem, they have to create more problems.
Helen, I have a question.
Sure, Cass.
How can you be in oneness when you're subconsciously a healer, yet don't want to take on other people's pains?
Well, you just exactly said what is going on. Because when we are resisting being a healer, resisting taking on their pain, a lot of times we will actually take their pain away from them unconsciously.
And my question is then, how do I still be a healer, but yet not take that on unconsciously?
By totally acknowledging, and be in total allowance of you being a healer.
Oh my.
Yeah.
I just lightened up completely.
Yep. Because that what's true will make you lighter.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And it's not cognitive. It's pretty much a choice of acknowledging and being in allowance. The idea is not being in resistance and reaction, and also not being in aligning and agreeing. Because there are people who are healers who are out there and they're kind of saying, I am a healer and I'm going to heal everybody. That's aligning and agreeing. And a lot of those healers, like if you notice, especially in the spiritual community, some of them are getting sick because they are taking on other people's stuff, because they kind of like in alignment and agreeing that they're a healer. They are not an interesting point of view, so they don't have a choice. When we are interesting point of view in total allowance of that, we just choose in the moment what's required, cognitively or not cognitively, but still consciously.
Cheryl has a question.
Okay. Kind of two parts. One of the things is that I was actually outside earlier today, and I couldn't really find a spot that I liked. And so when I was on this call, I just kind of started walking, and I went to this park that I haven't gone to, I don't think ever. And it's like right by, very close to my house. And so what questions can we ask to really just more be in the question, what does the body need, and just follow that? Because like now my whole body is just like totally expanded, totally different energy.
Exactly. Yeah, and part of it, running the restoration of communion with Earth, is shifting a lot of things in our bodies right now. So what if we did listen to our body and be the question instead of conclusion, and trusted our knowing, and just allow ourselves to follow the energy, just like Cheryl, just like you went to that park, and just being expanded completely. So what if we didn't resist to anything? And by the way, my invitation to you, because you're expanded right now, because we cleared a lot, don't try to recreate that. Just be that energy. Be the question. Just sense what's going on with your body right now, and just allow it to permeate through every cell and every molecule. So cool.
And then like kind of the second part would be kind of like being just like interesting point of view, like in no judgment, not making things significant, like, oh, if I want to Diet Coke, I want to smoke, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because it's, I ran someone's bars yesterday and she's like, you want a Coke? And my body was like, yes, Coke. I mean, so I mean, just kind of not making those things significant. And when you do it, just do it without a point of view.
And if the point of view does come up, just fucking pot it until you are an interesting point of view.
Sylvia had a question. I don't know if it was just a comment or a question, but there was a question mark with it. After you talked about acknowledging that we have choice, we can send energy to people that require it or not, rather than, choose to do it or not, if they can receive it, and rather than having to heal the universe. She said, how are we helping them create them? Do you want to come on, Sylvia, wherever you are? Where are you? Sylvia,
where are you?
Right here.
Oh.
Okay.
Sylvia? Hi. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Hi. So what was your question exactly?
The question, you answered it, Helen.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh,
You
I think
answered it
yeah.
right when I made the question, you answered it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, yeah. Oh, yeah, that was the question about that when we take it away,
Uh-huh. Yeah,
they keep recreating it anyway.
exactly.
Any other questions before we kind of like, because we're a little bit over an hour, which is fine with me, but I think some of you guys are probably going to continue celebrating Easter today. Good. I think yeah, I fried your brains enough. Thank you so much. And I'll see you sometime in the future. Maybe.
It's wonderful, Helen. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. And maybe I'll see you in Canada during foundation or body class.
Yeah, foundation is this weekend, this coming weekend. What is it? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Jackie, or what?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Cool.
Or Friday, no, I'm sorry, Helen comes in Thursday. You're right, Judy, Friday to Monday.
Okay,
Friday
cool.
to Monday, yep.
Yeah.
And body class the following weekend.
Right.
Yeah, 3/8 body class in Winnipeg, in Winterpeg, but it's probably Springapeg now.
Yeah, I'm hoping the spring tag or summer tag.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.